Hey everyone, this is John Child, Cruise Addicts, and I'm so excited that you're all here. In today's show, we're going to interview top travel agent who is Viking's global top producer with over 18 years of experience and works every day at giving his clients first-class service. Please welcome our guest, Michael Consoli. Here he comes. Hi, Michael. How you doing today?
Good, John. How are you?
Well, I'm really excited to have you here again. Hopefully, we got a great connection. And to start off, wow, talk about being timely with this. We have some breaking news from Viking. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, so once again, we have a cessation of service. So Viking has extended their pause in operations now through August 31st. So most everybody should probably receive notification from the cruise line directly, probably within the next 24 hours.
Okay. And see here. Sorry, I lost you a second. And now we've got some questions. I know there's so much going on. We're going to start off right here, and we're going to change this. So my Viking cruise is canceled. Now what? I mean, what a major change here. We're going to go down to some questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Make sure to ask your questions below. We see you in the chat. Also, if you haven't given us permission to see your name in the profile, please follow the directions that it gives you. I think it gives a notification. Otherwise, it'll just say Facebook user. I see so many people right now. Once again, please ask your questions below, and we're going to get to that after we go through a series of this interview. Once again, thank you all for being here. So we're going to go down here, get to our first question. Okay, Michael, my July and August cruise got canceled. Now what?
So now, as many have already speculated, the cruise line will offer the option of a 100% refund or 125% future cruise credit. And clearly, if the guest is planning on traveling again, the 125% future cruise credit is really, the better option for them, because the cruise credit would be good for 2 years from the date of issue. And if the credit isn't used during that 2-year period, it will be refunded to the guest. So one of the most interesting parts about this particular voucher that the cruise line is offering is that it's also transferable. So if they're unable to use it, or they're afraid that it wouldn't be transferred to somebody else, they can transfer it one time to another guest, a relative, a family member. So it really is a great value to have that extra 25% to use on a future cruise.
Okay. We're going to go to our next question. Should I reschedule for September and October? That's a good question.
I mean, as over the weekend, we saw a lot of countries issue notices that they're going to open in July or August or that kind of thing. So there's a great possibility that the cruise lines will still will start operations on the river. Some of the ocean lines will start in August. But there's a great possibility that Viking will start again September 1st. And so there is that option. Probably people are a little bit apprehensive about going so soon. And those that might want to option, to go next year. But there will be availability to rebook for September, October, or even some of the holiday markets cruises for this year. Although I probably would recommend, looking at something for next year, maybe replacing it with the same date you had this year, next year. That's what I find a lot of my clients are doing, is just moving to a similar date next year.
Okay, very good. On our next question here. What countries are opening up? That's a big question, because so much is changing every day.
So I think we've seen that Spain is going to open, that Italy is going to open, that that we've seen Croatia is opening, Greece is opening. We're going to see a lot of the countries over the next few months open up for tourism. So this fear of having to be quarantined for 14 days or something like that upon entry is probably going to go away. And we will see some countries that continue to do that. But the majority of European countries, I think, will open up in the next few months, and travel will go back to near the same. Not necessarily we will travel the same. There'll be other additional precautions, but we will see the countries start to open up now, I believe.
Okay. On to our next question here. Here's the real, this is on a lot of people's mind. What precautions will the cruise lines take to protect me?
Yeah, so the cruise lines are really addressing this all differently, but the majority of them have said that they will continue to offer buffets just in a different way. They'll have guests, crews serving the guests instead of the guests serving themselves. They're going to have hand washing stations and make that more prevalent. They will continue to have air conditioning systems that are separate from other cabins. Most of these cruise ships do not share the same air conditioning systems or the same, filtration systems in each cabin. So those types of things that have been publicized as being issues really are not issues on the newer ships. So I think we'll just see them taking precautions of people getting on board the ship, taking temperatures, that kind of thing. We'll see dividers between tables, things like that. So I think they're just going to take extra precautions to make sure that people are comfortable in traveling and will feel comfortable traveling without having to worry about the possible virus spread. So
Excellent. And here's another one. How will our cruise experience change? I really don't want a big change personally. I go to cruise because I have an expectation for a certain experience. So, what are the experts saying? Or if you've heard from Viking, how do you think the cruise experience is going to change for Viking cruisers?
I think they're going to have higher, more significant screening processes for embarkation, more significant screening processes for their crew, making sure that they don't, that they don't have the virus when they board the ships, when the guests board the ships. But I also think that we'll probably see ships not sail particularly 100% full, that they won't fill the theater 100% full. They may have 3 shows instead of 2 shows, just so they can spread the guests out and avoid people being together. I think we'll see that the motor coaches will be filled at, like 60% instead of 100%. And just to maintain some social distancing standards, I think that's where we're going to see the biggest change.
Okay. On to our next question. I hope before May 30th.
Yeah, so I didn't hear the question. I'm so sorry. Why should I book before May 31st? Well, I would recommend rebooking before the 31st of this month so you can take advantage of the special offers that the cruise line has, maybe some of the ones that we have, double past guest savings, the onboard credit offers, that type of thing. Those are all going to expire May 31st. The risk-free cancellation offer that they have right now probably will be extended, but it's also something that's set to expire on the 31st of the month. So really to have all of those things, I would recommend booking before rebooking your trip before the 31st.
Okay.
Which doesn't give us much time. So that's something that, I've been telling my clients, you're going to want to have something chosen, a date chosen so that we can go ahead and get you rebooked. As I've said in the past, again, we have guests from 2020 combining with the guests from 2021. So we're kind of combining 2 years of demand into one, and that's really creating a situation where availability is not like we would expect it to be at this part of the year. So the availability is getting smaller and smaller as the demand goes up for moving from 20 to 21.
Okay, thank you all for the questions. I'm seeing them come in. We're going to get to them. I think we're going to finish out some of our questions or some of the questions that we had that we were going to cover. But thank you and keep asking away. Let's see, we're going to go. Here's a big one. What incentives can you offer if I book before May 31st?
So in addition to the things that I mentioned, the double pass guest discount, the onboard credit offer, we also have our own onboard credit offer that we'd be able to provide each guest that rebooks with us. You would have that risk-free cancellation. So the biggest thing that I actually provide my guests when rebooking is I help them maximize the use of their voucher, making sure they're getting all of the specials, taking advantage of any offers that Viking has, combining it with, the past guest offer and our particular onboard credit offer. And we just help them make sure they choose the right date, get the best value for their money. So I really work hard to help my clients find the best sailing date for the best price and maximize their voucher, whether that means, upgrade the cabin, upgrade the air, add a pre or post package. I help them work through what the best value is for them, because everybody's value is different, right, in a vacation. So some people see the value of doing extension, some people don't. Some people would like to have a private car. Those types of things vary by guest. I help them determine exactly what the best value is for them, and then we help them set that up. So,
and I know we talked about this on a previous live stream. Sometimes they can take that credit and also book like a pre and post stay, because the Viking cruises I've done, people just rave about a pre and post stay, and all of a sudden now you have this credit, 25% extra, and then some, where they can actually put that towards that possibly. Is that correct?
That's correct. And really in 2021, there are more pre and post packages, offered on these sailings than ever before. So they have, new packages for 2020 include a 4-night package that includes Nuremberg and Prague. They have, going to Milan, doing, Lake Como, that kind of thing. There are a lot of new packages that weren't offered in the past. And those packages really are options that the guests can take advantage of with that extra 25%. So, and then the other thing that, I always recommend to my clients is that they do the Air Plus, allowing us to select the flights and the routing as early as 10 months prior. I've said this before. I learned a long time ago when I started doing this that, the air can set the tone for the entire trip. And it's so important to make sure that we get our guests the best possible air schedule, the best possible connections, the best possible seats. And that $50 or $100 per person charge to do the Air Plus through Viking really allows us to help the guests select the perfect flight. So we work really hard to find the guests the perfect air schedule. And that's something that's really important.
Can you tell me about Air Plus? Because I don't know if I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so Air Plus is a service that Viking offers. It allows the guest or, us as travel agents to assist the guest in finding the perfect air schedule as early as 10 months prior. So what happens with the Viking Air package, whether the guest purchases it or it's part of a free promo with the air, the cruise line assigns the air between 90 and 120 days prior to departure. And the guest is pretty much just stuck with what Viking provides, unless they take the Air Plus. The Air Plus is a service that just allows us to do that 10 months earlier. And it will also allow us to select the routing and the flights as opposed to just being assigned. And that's really important because, the planes have different configurations and some people want to be on the 2-seat side. And we work through all of that, making sure that the guest gets the flight they want on the airlines that they want, and then also can get their frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, you hit that on the head, nail on the head, because the flight made a huge difference on the ones we've done. And if you get a strange route because you waited, you booked late or something like that, or last minute, or it can totally change your day. Yeah, huge.
It sets the tone for the entire trip. I mean, somebody, has a layover somewhere and misses a flight or ends up with a bad seat, or it can set the tone for the whole trip, and nobody wants to do that. So
you're not exaggerating. It's huge. Okay, on to our next question here. Not that one. Let's see. All right. Why should we call you to rebook, Michael?
Well, for all the reasons that I've already mentioned, clearly being Viking's global top producer, I have a lot of experience with all the different itineraries, and I can help them maximize the value of their voucher, help them find the right air itinerary, the right pre and post package, make sure that they, pick the right cabin category for them, and just really maximize that extra 25%. So.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to say all of that. My favorite part's coming up where we get to answer people's questions. I love that part.
Yes, please ask your questions below. Make sure I can see my hands here. So many of you join us. We've got 31 here right now, and we appreciate your likes, hearts. Please, this is different. We're in a group. It's a private group. Now I'm seeing some names. So, wow. Thank you so much. You have to get permission. We got up to 34 now, Michael. Please ask the questions right below there, and we can see them live. Michael can see them. We'd love to give you first class information and service. It's not every day you get to talk to a Viking global top producing agent or the Viking global top producer. I keep just lowering things here, but it's just amazing that we have this resource to our group. So I'm going to start with some questions, Michael, if you don't mind. Let's see here. We've
Yeah,
got
sure.
we've got Alexandra, and she's got a question here. Thank you again for giving permission. We can actually see your name. I think you all get a notification now to let you know that you have to approve, and it's going to show your profile and your name to this private group, chat. So Alexandra says, should I be worried that I didn't get an email about the cancellation yet? My Viking journey is no longer shows the trips today. It's just disappeared. So what do you think about that, Michael?
Well, so I mean, no, you shouldn't be worried because they have thousands of emails to send out today, and I think they just started at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So they will be issued, an order of travel date and ship and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm not certain how they're breaking them up, but they're not all able to go out at one time. So, but they should be distributed over the next 24 to 48 hours, and you'll receive an email directly from them that will have the information that was posted on their site, as well as the information about how much your voucher would be worth if you choose to do that, if you choose to take the voucher. So, but keep in mind, something that's really important to know is that you're going to get an email for each guest on your reservation. So the voucher you receive is really only going to represent the amount that you paid for the cruise. So a lot of times the vouchers are received and they have an amount on them and the guest thinks it's for both guests in the cabin, and it's not. It's only for that particular guest. So it's basically double the amount that you see on the voucher when it's received. So
The room is filling up. We hit some high numbers here. So thank you all for joining us once again. We're here with Michael Consoli, and he's answering all of our questions. So much has happened today. Viking made it some cancellations, unfortunately suspending service, and a lot of people are wondering. So we're going to move on. This looks like a real interesting question here. Let's see. Oh, make sure I got this so it shows up properly. Our cruise is at the beginning of September, but we have a pre-trip in Budapest at the end of August. It was booked through Viking. Is that canceled too?
So the sailing date, so the cancellations or the cessation of operation goes through August 31st, and it's really just by sailing date. So it's not determined by the pre or post package. So most likely the sailing that you're on, because it actually starts after September or on or after September the 1st. As long as the sailing starts on or after September the 1st, that sailing is most likely traveling and is not affected by the most recent announcement of the pause in service. So my answer would be yes, most likely you're still traveling. So if your sailing is affected for some reason, you will receive an email directly from Viking, although I don't think any September sailings are affected by this notification.
Okay. Once again, ask your questions below. We need to have a whole bunch of questions. We'll stay here as long as you ask the questions. We're going to get everything answered. We've got an amazing resource here. Don't let it go to waste. Today's an important day. Thank you all for being here. Look at these numbers, Michael. I don't know if you can see at the top of the screen here. We're filling up the room pretty. This is very exciting. I think this is the most popular one we've had yet. And of course, if you're watching this, it'll all be recorded, and you can watch it at a later time. If your schedule doesn't coincide with coming watching this live. So let's see. All right. Let's see. We're going to go to this next. Can we get a full refund? How is this done, Michael?
So yes, the option in lieu of the 125% voucher, there is an option to get a refund. You do have to process it by a certain date. But it does have to be requested either by you if you book directly with Viking or by your travel agent. And it just has to be requested before a certain date. I think it's I think it is June 6th that it has to be requested by. So you just have to request the refund by that date, and then the cruise line will process the refund to the original form of payment within 45 to 60 days. So typically their refund processing time is usually about 3 weeks, but unfortunately with the situation with COVID and the limitations that banks present on processing a certain number of refunds a day, that is taking longer to process. So if you do request a refund, just keep in mind it can take 45 to 60 days for them to do so. Although many people on this site have noted they've gotten it a lot sooner than that. So
Yeah, we've got a user here that just asked that. Their July Alaskan trip was just canceled. What happens now? I want a refund. So you said it could take 45 days to, is it, I hear you correctly, that it could take 45 days if they want a refund?
Yeah, so they will refund it, as I said, if they request it, either directly to Viking or through their travel agent. They will process the refund within 45 to 60 days. Most of them have been within 45 days. But yes, it can be processed. I would recommend to that person that wants to travel to Alaska that they take the voucher because, Alaska is a great itinerary. You may be able to add one of those pre or post packages in Denali or even upgrade your cabin if you take the voucher. So, and Viking is going to be doing those sailings next year too. So there are some sailings that Viking doesn't really have on the schedule for next year, which I have found for my clients, like the Panama Canal sailings later in the year. They're just in January. So, obviously, if the sailing isn't available, then you might want to consider a different sailing. But Alaska's season next year seems to be selling pretty well. So if somebody wants to do that next year, I certainly would hop on that. So
Okay. Now here's a really interesting question that popped out here, Michael. Is it possible to book a first class flight with this 25% voucher? The extra 25%.
yeah, so the 25% may cover the upgrade to to business class. It just depends. It would be completely based on how much you spent on the trip. Typically, the additional cost for business class would be for international trips would be about between $3,000 and $4,000 additional. So it's totally going to depend on how much you spent on the original cruise, whether or not that 25% would cover the additional cost of the business class. But keep in mind, you also can upgrade to premium economy, which is a totally separate class between business class and economy that would provide a little bit wider seat, more legroom, upgraded amenities. It's just completely separate cabin from economy. So if the business class is not doable with the additional 25%, certainly possible to look also at premium economy to upgrade that class of service as well.
And he actually said first class. I'm not sure if that's a big expense. And I know
Yeah.
you covered the different classes, but if they really wanted to put that towards that, could they do that as well?
They certainly can count the 25% upgrade towards a first class upgrade. It would be based on whatever the first class cost would be. Most of the time, when clients refer to first class for international flights, they're really looking for business class, which is going to have lie flat seats, that type of thing. On an international flight, there are limited airlines that offer, what a first class experience internationally, and those are going to be flights that have like separate pods for the guests, like, with a door that closes and that kind of thing. More like, something like Emirates or British Air offers a first class, Air France offers a first class experience. It's much more upscale than the business class, but both would be available if that's what the guest was looking to book.
Okay. Well, this person just says you're awesome. So I just thought that was cool. And some user had asked, they said, are me and you, on payroll? Is this, I know we've been asked, is this a Viking, official Viking group? Does Viking Cruises or Viking own this group? And the answer is no. This is a private group that I started. John Chow, the admin. This is Michael Consola. He's a travel agent and he's a great friend of the group. And we appreciate you all being here. We do have rules about no solicitation, and that's actually dictated by me because this is my group. It's kind of like my living room, and I appreciate y'all being here. And right now, this is my live on our group, and we really appreciate everything. But yeah, this is a private group. Viking doesn't pay us anything, and they don't. Michael actually has his own business. He's, like I said, 18 years of experience, and he's a Viking global top producer. And at the end of the day, I'm just a big fan of Viking. As everybody that's 25,000 members, we're all just really big fans of the group. We have people in our group that are world travelers, and Michael's been on over 100 cruises, I believe. What was the number?
Is it 150 or more? I stopped counting at 150. So I've
Last time,
been,
Michael?
yeah, I've been on
So
150, and then I think we've done 18 Viking cruises altogether on both river and ocean. So
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, my point to all this is Yeah, we can't have everybody here soliciting and asking, because the discussion board would be filled with everything, and I'm actually deleting all kinds of people that try to join, and there's always different types of spam and whatnot. Uh, I'm not gonna make everybody happy with what I do, but this is a private group. You asked to join, and it is what it is. So it's just like any other business out there, so to speak. So. And we have a really nice compliment from Alexandra. Uh, she says your explanation was perfect. And can we rebook through you?
Yes, Alexander, you absolutely can rebook through me. Just you can reach me at Michael@planmycruise.com. That's Michael @planmycruise.com. Or you can reach me by phone at 800-913-7245. My contact information is listed at the top of the page.
Yeah, and another user actually asked, like I said, they have to give that permission so we can see their name and everything. So it says they said they've been emailing with you. I guess they must have did some things. When can I rebook with you? They're asking.
You can rebook with me as soon as you get the notification directly from Viking, because it will have that voucher, which will mean the voucher is generated, and then we can certainly rebook the sailing. This is a very important point to make. So with the rebooking, the voucher will provide the deposit and everything that you need for us to place the booking on hold for the new sailing. So there's no additional deposit required, unless, of course, the voucher doesn't cover the entire cost of the trip. But the voucher, really, once the voucher is issued, we can go ahead and get you rebooked on the date that you want. And as I said earlier, I would highly recommend doing that as early as possible, just because we are basically combining 2 years demand into 1 year. So I think we're gonna see such a great boom in all the cruise business next year, and so because of this, and so you're really gonna want to get there as early as possible.
The questions are rolling in. We're keeping a lot. I tell you what, Michael, you're like a star because we're keeping all kinds of people in our group. Thank you again for joining us. The chat's been the best we've ever had. Today's been a big day with some post suspension of services got extended, and we're gonna go to some more questions. Like I said, keep asking these questions, so we're gonna keep answering them. And thank you again for being here. And this one caught my attention too here. The 25% doesn't come with a refund? Like,
No, so the 25% is really an incentive to get you to, rebook next year. So, if you spent $20,000, you're going to get $25,000 to spend next year, which is great because it's, most of the pricing is pretty much the same as it was this year, especially for River. And it would overcome any price increase and allow you to do much more with your trip than you had originally planned. So, and keep in mind, any amount that's not spent will be, you can use, on the cabin or the air or the pre or post package can be used, to purchase additional excursions, prepay your gratuities, and also, you can purchase the Silver Spirits package with it, which is a great addition. If you're not familiar with the Silver Spirits package, it makes your beer and wine that's included with lunch and dinner an all-inclusive beverage package, which includes all beverages. So, except top shelf liquors. So, so it's a great option to use. And to be honest, Viking is one of the most aggressive with their pricing on that package, only $20 per person per day. And, most cruise lines are charging $70, $80, $100 per person per day for that type of package. So it's a really great deal already.
And one little note on that is we have the Silver Spirits packages that are themed around a certain whatever it might be, Asian and it's all, every course is paired with wine, right? Am I getting
that's
right,
correct?
And
local wines, themed to the region. Mm-hmm.
Well, we have the Silver Spirits package, and lo and behold, the wine that was paired gets upgraded with the Silver Spirits package. So the chef has actually picked an included wine, right? But then also, if you have the Silver Spirits package, it gets upgraded.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I'm right on that.
The wines get upgraded. So you do have an upgraded wine list as well in the dining room when you take the Silver Spirits package, and it offers a lot more options than just the regular house wines that they're serving every night.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's just those little things, they make a difference. Just especially if you're a big wine learner. So we've got some little bigger questions here. I don't know if you can see them on the side here. We may have to, I may have to read them to you. It says, of course, the 120% is tempting, but if Viking goes bankrupt because of the business interruption, is there any guarantee the customer could get their money back?
So I get the question a lot, not just about Viking, but a lot about all the lines, about the financial viability of these lines, and I think it's a great question. And every company is different. Although Viking is a privately held company, and they are very conservative about the way that they do business. So you can imagine with guests paying a year, 6 months in advance, their cash on hand is pretty strong. I would encourage the guest to, that has that question to do some research on their own, conduct a Moody's research, things like that. I can tell you from my own, experience and the things that I've looked at for them, I find that they're very financially secure. They have a really great rating with Moody's. The conversation about the influx of cash that they've taken recently, I think, was very honest of Tor to talk about. I will say he's, again, very financially conservative and wants to make sure that he can, continue to pay his people. Very important point. We've not seen any stories about furloughs or layoffs or anything to do with anything for any of the Viking crew or staff in California, any of their res agents, any of the support staff for travel agents. None of those have been laid off or furloughed. So I think that's a really great indication of their financial, ability to continue. And I think that he has a very strong desire to continue the business that he's done, and he's going to do whatever he has to do that. And I think his commitment to the guest is really what has helped build my business over the past 18 years with them. And I think the people on this board, I've seen so many great posts just from today about the about the positive service and what a great job they do. And I think they're going to continue to do that great job. And I personally don't have any concerns moving forward with them about bankruptcy. I really don't.
Okay, we've got some great questions coming in. Please just write them down there. They're rolling in there, and it's really making this special. We're hitting a high with the amount of people and watching this live stream. We really appreciate you taking the time every evening. Time is really precious, and we've got a great resource. Wow, we're just hitting even a higher number. This is so exciting. So here's a great one, Michael. Do I need to receive the official email before I call to cancel? I'm worried about getting it done before June 6th. Obviously, also the May 31st date is very important. And then they continue on. They want to get this done before June 6th because we need a refund. So disappointed, of course, they're saying this was going to be our first cruise. And once again, make sure you, in the future ones, make sure you give us permission if it gave you a notification so we can see who this was, which group member this is, and also see your smiling faces. But what an amazing question this is. So they want to, I'm trying to make sure I got this right. Do they want to, so they want to cancel and get a refund, it looks like. It doesn't talk about rebooking. It talks about
Yeah. So they can go ahead and contact the cruise line or the travel agent they booked with and process that, request that refund be processed. Look, there are a lot of changes in our world today, and there are a lot of people that are going to need to take the refund. Or somebody else posted earlier that they're 82 and they don't know that they're going to travel again in 2 years, or so that kind of thing. Everybody's situation is different, and as an agent, we help our clients work through those situations and help them figure out what's best for them. And in this case, if that's the best scenario, yes, I absolutely would contact your agent or Viking as soon as possible and ask them to get that refund set up so that it can be processed to you within that 45 to 60 day window. So, but absolutely, I don't think you have to wait if you want to do the refund option. You don't have to wait until you get the email. Although I bet you get the email before the end of the day tomorrow. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking through the questions. Like I said, keep asking your questions below. If you've got any questions, we've got a lot of people watching. If there's any questions or concerns, we're here to help you make yourself sleep better tonight and not worry about these things. That an amazing resource.
And John, I just want to clarify real quick. I think that the letter actually says it has to be requested by June the 12th. So I think June the 6th. I was not correct about that. I believe. Oh, somebody just posted that the letter says it should be by June 12th. Yeah, great. So good timing.
Yeah, they know what's going on here. See, they're keeping us straight here. So I'm looking through there's a whole conversation going on in the chat here. That's why my eyes are kind of looking over here. So like I said, please ask your questions below. We need your questions. We'll keep answering them as it goes on. And once again, you can watch this later on throughout the week until our next one. We'll keep it. It'll always be active. All right. Let's see here, Michael. What cost of trip insurance will be refunded, if any?
So if the guest chose the cruise line's insurance, the insurance would be refunded. This is applicable really only to those sailings that have been canceled by the cruise line. If the guest cancels a sailing that's not been canceled by the cruise line, that insurance would remain as a future travel credit. But currently, under the policy, if they have Viking's insurance, that insurance would be refunded or included as part of the 125% voucher, depending on what the guest chooses. Also, if the guest had third-party insurance, whether they took it themselves through USAA or Allianz or Travel Guard or any of these other third-party options, not through Viking, those are going to vary by travel insurance company and mainly vary by state as well. So they may want to check with their travel agent or who they purchased the insurance through if it's not through Viking, and that's going to vary by the company it's been purchased through.
Okay. And you know what? I know we're talking, there's a lot of people asking about rebooking and using you and stuff like that. And, you know, I've met a lot of travel agents in my day. And can you talk about your philosophy, you know, as far as if any of the people in our group have an agent, can you kind of expand upon that? I know we've talked about this before, and I'd like to hear it from you, that we're not here to pull people away from their agent and who they have a relationship with.
We're not. I mean, honestly, I work really hard with my clients to develop a great relationship by providing excellent service. It's so important to me. And so I never want to disparage the relationship a guest has with their travel agent, because it's a very hard relationship to build, and it's really important to all of our businesses. So if you're working with a travel agent that you love, you know, I definitely don't want to disparage that relationship. But if you're not working with an agent and you're looking for somebody to guide you through this process and help you get the best value, I would love to help you do that. Somebody asked if I charge a fee. I never charge a fee for my services ever. So a lot of agents that do charge a fee. I never charge a fee. The cruise lines pay us. So I'm not interested in, you know, trying to make money on ancillary fees. Everything that I do for my client. And to build that relationship, I make sure we take care of the guests from the moment they call us to the moment they get home. And that's the only way that I'm going to get them to come back to me and tell their friends and family about me. And that's the most important part of what I do, is the relationship.
Okay, we've got more questions coming. This is great. What if we book with Michael, but we don't get our voucher in time to get the upgrades that end in 3 days? Wow, that's a really good question.
Yeah, well, just contact me. I'm happy to take care of you. I'm certain you will get the voucher before the 3 days is up. If for some reason you don't, we'll find a way around that. But just give me a call and I can take good care of you. So,
that reminds me, we have a special promotion and giveaway free for everybody everybody watching this video. It's going to be at the end of the video. We're going to share it with you, and I think it's very exciting. Like I said, if you have an agent, great, but we'll get to that at the end of it. So we're going to keep answering your questions, and here's one about river cruising. Are river cruises starting back up on August 31st, or are they reevaluating that date also?
So I think they'll start back up on September the 1st. And then, you know, we'll see the sailing start. As far as I understand it, they will start up at that point. Obviously, it'll be reevaluated by many of the factors that they took into account today, which were, you know, the airlift in and out of these countries, the passport issues, visa issues for Russia, and all those places. It's all going to take a while to figure out, you know, just how all of that can be brought together. But I think that they're hopeful, as am I, and the rest of the industry, that we would see that happen. I know that we're going to see it happen in the Caribbean, and, you know, cruises out of the U.S. August 1st, and we're hoping we'll see that internationally September the 1st.
Okay, let's see. Oh, here's one. What about my $450 onboard credit? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I have on my current booking for August 4th. Will that get attached to my new booking?
So it really depends on the new booking, and I'd be happy to work through this with you if you're interested in it. But most of the time, the offers that we have can surpass the one that you had on the original booking, so it's probably not an issue. But it just depends on what that $450 originates from, and once we determine that, I can help you figure out whether or not it would apply. Most of the time, we're able to make the guest way more than whole when they move their booking to next year. So I'm not certain that that would be a concern, but I'm sure we could overcome it.
Okay, once again, keep asking your questions. The more you ask, the more we answer. Thank you all for filling the room. You've sticked with us, though. We've kept some great numbers here, as you can see. It shows us how many people are watching right now, and of course, a lot of times these get replayed hundreds of times afterwards, and then some. So thank you all for being here. And we're going through. I'm making sure I'm not missing any here. We're going to go to the back to the top. Please be patient. Let's see here. Any more questions? And I think we're actually going to get to our promotion, Michael. We've got a great opportunity here. Michael Consoli is going to offer you a free consultation. You can contact him via email. And how would they actually get in touch with you, Michael? If they get in touch with you via email or phone, they can get a free consultation with you. You can talk over their booking. If they want to give you their booking, they can do that too. If they want to rebook with you or whatever they choose to do is their business. How can they go ahead and do that?
Well, I'm happy to consult with them, even if they're not interested in moving the booking to me, just to let them know what the best way to take advantage of their, the options are, what the best talk through the best options for them. Certainly happy to do that. They can reach me either via email at michael@planmycruise.com, or they can call me directly, 800-913-7245. I'm available to them most every day, including the weekends and the evenings. I make myself very available to my clients. So I certainly would love to have the opportunity to help them maximize their voucher and their vacation experience. So
that's awesome. So we have that information up there. Like I said, let me see if I can get this right. It's right down there. It's scrolling down there. Michael@planmycruise.com. This is your opportunity to get a free consultation with Michael. Why not deal with the best? I mean, when you're talking about the top global producer for Viking cruises, like I said, we don't want to ruin any relationship you have, but if you'd like to either build a new relationship or talk about your situation, he's here for you. Let's see if any more questions. Like I said, ask below. Please do. And if there's no more questions, we really want to thank Michael for being here. What an amazing day. I'm really excited to see these numbers. We've done some great stuff. So definitely get a hold of Michael. Let him help you out. And is there anything we didn't cover, Michael, that you'd like to go over?
Yeah, John, just a couple quick things. One is that, keep in mind that Viking Mississippi is available now for 22 and 23. People that are familiar with the itineraries know that the 15-night one sold out in a matter of a couple of weeks. And I think that we expect the additional dates they added for 2023 on the Mississippi to also sell out. Those sailings are also eligible. You can use the voucher for those. Keep in mind that your voucher only has to be utilized or added to the booking within the 2 years. The sailing doesn't necessarily have to happen within the 2 years. So we just have to book and apply your voucher within 2 years of the voucher's date. It does not necessarily have to sail by that date. So keep that in mind. But yeah, the expedition sailings with Galapagos, with the expedition ships, and also clearly river and ocean. The vouchers are applicable to all of those. So there's some great options for those people that don't necessarily want to leave the US as well now too.
Can you offer us any kind of like travel agent insight, global top producing inside secrets about Viking that you might not see people talking on the group that you could share with us today?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the best thing to do, and this is whether you work with me or you work with somebody else, work with a qualified travel agent. They're going to help you get the best deal. Most of the time, like with us, they'll be able to add some value to the booking. We bring years of experience, the relationship that we have with them, with Viking, to help you get the best flights, the best opportunities for sales and offers, but we also increase the onboard credit offer as well. So if you contact me, we can take care of that. But the best advice I could give you is to work with a qualified travel professional to help you plan your trip. So
that's awesome. Well, Michael, thank you so much for being here. he is Michael Consoli. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate everybody in the group joining us today, and we hope to do this again. So
Yeah.
have a good night, Michael. And
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
okay. Good night, everybody.